Welcome. Today I'm going to explain a British film called A Brilliant Plan, which is a mix of drama and crime. The movie begins with a person searching in the mud and finding some strange gemstones, which turn out to be raw diamonds. In London, an older woman named Laura Queen has an interview with a young reporter who wants to write a story about Laura. During their conversation, Laura takes out an exceptional 168-carat diamond with 58 facets, leaving the reporter impressed. Soon, Laura starts recounting the story of how she stole it from the London Diamond Company. At that moment, we travel to the past, where we see a young Laura entering the London Diamond Company, where she works as a manager. She goes into the company's vault and fills 2 carts with diamonds, which she then gives to the employees. Shortly after, the company owner, Milton, and his son Oliver arrive at the company building, making their way through a group of protesters. When they enter the office, the employees inform them about the massacre of miners in Africa, where 100 London Diamond Company workers lost their lives. The company executives don't seem very concerned, and at the end of the meeting, Milton appoints Peter Ball as the new company director. Laura becomes frustrated because she is efficient and works hard to be promoted, but her efforts are not rewarded. The company executives belittle her because she is a woman. The only person who values her efforts and work is the friendly old janitor named Jobs. At night, she returns home, and the next day, she goes to work, where she meets an old university colleague named Harold, who offers her a job at the bank. She goes to her office, and on her desk, she finds a letter saying she won't go anywhere in the company and a cinema ticket with the showtime written on the back. Curiosity gets the best of her, so during her lunch break, Laura leaves the company and heads to the cinema. When she arrives, she meets the janitor, Mr. Jobs, who suggests they sit together for a while. She is very confused and tells him she must return to work, but he mentions that he has a proposal. That's when Jobs reveals that he overheard a conversation among the company executives planning to fire her. Mr. Jobs has a plan and proposes that Laura steals a few diamonds to become rich, but not too many, so the owners won't notice. Laura doesn't believe she'll be fired and calls him crazy before leaving. Back at work, Laura finds her dismissal letter, realizing that Mr. Jobs wasn't as crazy as he seemed. Desperate, she meets with Harold to accept his job offer at the bank, but he informs her that the London Diamond Company has been speaking ill of her, so he can't offer her a position as it would reflect poorly on the bank. The next day, she encounters Mr. Jobs, and she asks him why he wants to steal the diamonds. He tells her that he will retire soon and would like to spend his last years as a wealthy man. Mr. Jobs takes her to his house to explain the plan, mentioning that at night, he has to clean the basement of the building where the diamond vault is located. He tells her that the guards watch him for a while but then leave, and all he needs to enter the vault is the security code that opens the door. Laura is impressed by the janitor's plan, and then he shows her a small thermos where he will put the diamonds from the building. Laura assumes that Milton keeps the vault code in his house. So, shortly after, she attends a business meeting at Milton's house. After dancing for a while, she goes upstairs and heads to his study. The girl searches the room for the code, but she soon hears footsteps in the hallway and rushes to hide. Milton enters the study, and she watches from afar as he enters the code into the safe. When the man leaves, Laura hurries to the safe and opens it, finding the code for the company's diamond vault. While walking through the hallways, she realizes that the company is installing surveillance cameras throughout the place. She pretends to be interested and, while they explain the functioning of the surveillance system, she notices a small flaw that they could take advantage of. Once again, Laura meets with Jobs, and she mentions to him that the security guard can only see a few cameras at a time, and these rotate every 60 seconds. That's the only time she has to enter and exit the vault. The next day, after finishing her shift, she returns home. When the building doors close, Mr. Jobs starts cleaning the offices as usual. Shortly after, he goes to the surveillance room, where he measures the timing of the cameras with a stopwatch. He heads to the basement and calculates the exact time when the screen switches cameras to act while the guard can't see him. Jobs runs down the hallway and manages to open the vault door, entering before the 60 seconds are up. Shortly after, Jobs calculates the precise moment to exit the vault, successfully stealing the diamonds without being caught. The man leaves the building without raising suspicion and, upon arriving at his empty house, he puts the thermos in the sink. However, there are no diamonds inside the container. The next morning, Laura goes to work, and in the main hall, she sees the executives very concerned. The woman goes to the bathroom, but soon Mr. Jobs calls her and takes her to the basement. Upon entering the vault, the woman can't believe what she sees. The vault is empty. The next morning, Laura meets Mr. Jobs at a cafe and, very worried, asks him what he did with all the diamonds. He tells her that she will have the answers in due time and then leaves. Later, the girl goes to Milton's office, where we see a man named Voy, a simple messenger who comes to deliver a letter and a package but doesn't know who sent them. When the man leaves, Milton opens the letter, reading that the stolen diamonds can be bought back for £100 million. Then, Milton checks the package, which contains one of his precious stolen diamonds known as the South African Star. Later, the investigator Finch goes to Laura's office to ask her some questions. He notices her nervousness and tells her that he saw her talking to Jobs after the robbery. Laura responds that she was only reminding him to fix the radiator in her office. Laura talks to Jason, expressing her willingness to help Finch in his investigations. Shortly after, he calls her, and together they go down to the basement. Finch comments on the surveillance system flaw and mentions that the vault walls are intact, meaning that the person who stole the diamonds must have known the vault code. Laura meets Jobs in the sewers and tells him that the company can't afford to pay £100 million for the diamonds. The woman suggests that if they return the diamonds, the company won't press charges and they won't go to prison. But Mr. Jobs tells her not to worry and that everything is under control at work. Laura looks at some building plans. The interrogation proceeds normally until a person enters and takes Mr. Finch away while they are alone. Laura tells him that they won't be able to hide the theft for much longer and suggests surrendering to avoid going to prison. However, Jobs tells her that his cause is worth more than 100 lives behind bars. Finch searches for fingerprints he took from Laura and matches them with ones found in Milton's study. He then invites Laura to a bar to talk. The press gathers outside the company premises after Sinclair, the company's lender, reveals that all the diamonds have been stolen. Milton knows this means the end of his company, and upon seeing the press at the door, he has a heart attack and falls unconscious. Laura asks how Jobs managed to take all the diamonds. She assures him she's not ready, and at that moment, the investigator learns about Milton's accident and rushes to the company. Laura is very worried, and in the bar's restroom, she drops her earrings into the sink. She starts removing part of the pipe to retrieve them and realizes that Jobs may have made the diamonds disappear by throwing them down the drain. The woman ventures into the sewers, and while walking through the tunnels, Hops appears with a flashlight. Laura tells him that it's enough, but he points a gun at her and assures her that the robbery is about to end. The girl strikes his revolver, buying herself some time, and continues running through the tunnels. But shortly after, she trips and finds a large diamond on the floor, which she puts in her pocket. She looks and is saved, but her insurance company delayed the surgery because they considered it non-urgent. Shortly after, Hawks's wife died of cancer without being able to undergo surgery. The owner of the insurance company at that time was Sinclair, and he was responsible for his wife's death. Here, we learn that the diamond theft was nothing more than Jobs' revenge against Sinclair for letting his wife die. The company executives decide to accept paying the £100 million to recover the diamonds, and Sinclair knows he will never recover from this situation. He goes to his office and shoots himself in the head. Jobs had stolen all the diamonds, making several trips to the vault where he loaded the gems onto his cart and then poured them down the drain. The executives arrive to recover the diamonds, and the guy gives them a note with the address of the hiding place. Laura goes to the home center store, where the company has already made the deposit, so she calmly leaves the place. Laura continues walking, and after a while, she sees all the diamonds piled up right under the drain. In the next scene, we see several men taking the diamonds in boxes, and Laura sits on some stairs. Finch approaches the girl, knowing that she was the one who stole the diamonds, but when she is about to admit what she did, he stops her, saying that he would hate to see her spend the rest of her life behind bars. The investigator leaves, and Laura takes the diamond out of her pocket but decides to give it to Oliver in the basement of the company. Oliver opens the vault door, showing the press the diamonds and assuring them that these were never stolen. Back in the present, Laura tells the reporter that a month after the robbery, she left her job at the company. Unfortunately, she was never able to contact jobs again, but a few days after the robbery, she received a deposit in a Swiss bank for £100 million. Laura gives the girl a book that tells her story so that the young woman can publish it and inspire other women. In the end, the film reveals that Laura donated all the money she obtained from the robbery to charity, and the only thing she kept was that precious diamond, which she will cherish for the rest of her life. Remember to give it a like, which greatly helps the channel. Subscribe and activate notifications to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and until next time.